Hello and welcome everybody to this week's Object Talk. My name is Lisa and I am the Senior Learning Manager here at the Jewish Museum London. So once again, thank you for joining us for Wednesday Wisdom, which is our live Object Talk series. Now we have over 40,000 objects in the Jewish Museum's designated collection that showcase the diversity of Jewish life and history here in the UK. And our programs exist to preserve the unique and diverse voices of Jewish communities and explore connections between faiths and cultures. So this is the last Object Talk for this April month, for this month's theme, which has been freedom. And today I have selected a photograph from our collection to share with you today. So I'm going to share my screen. Brilliant. So this is the photograph that I'd like us to take a closer look at today for this theme of freedom. Now, this is a photograph of the Barki family and their friends. It was taken in Egypt in 1956, shortly before the expulsion of the Jewish communities later that same year. Now, this particular photograph, along with an oral history interview, was donated to the museum in 1992 by Maurice Barki, who we can see here just in the back row, fourth from our right. So that is Maurice Barki. And here, seated on the far right in the front, is his daughter, Vivian. Now, the other people in this photograph are cousins, aunts, uncles, and friends of the family who all gathered together for a picnic. Maurice Joseph Barki was born in Smyrna, modern-day Izmir, in Turkey in 1911. His family had lived in Smyrna for many generations, possibly since the Spanish Inquisition, when Sephardi Jewish communities who were expelled from Spain settled in what was then the Ottoman Empire. Now, for financial reasons, when Maurice was just 3 years old, his family moved to Egypt in 1914. And they chose Egypt partially because there were opportunities there, but also because they had some relatives there as well. Maurice grew up in a suburb of Alexandria, which was one of the main Jewish cities in Egypt alongside Cairo. Although in Cairo there had been a separate Jewish quarter, Alexandria did not have its own Jewish quarter, and Maurice recalls the area being much more integrated, with lots of different types of people living all together. His first language was Ladino, a mixture of sort of Hebrew and Spanish, spoken by many Sephardi communities, and the family spoke Ladino at home. But Maurice also spoke Spanish, French, Arabic, and English as well. He also recalls learning Hebrew. His family kept a kosher home and celebrated all the Jewish festivals, and he especially recalls Friday night Shabbat services being packed in one of Alexandria's many synagogues. Now, in this photograph, Maurice Barki and his extended family and friends are gathered together to celebrate Sham-el-Nessim. Sham-el-Nessim is an Arabic, non-religious festival which celebrates the first day of spring. And it's an official national holiday which is celebrated by Jews and non-Jews. And it has been celebrated in Egypt for nearly 5,000 years. And it's celebrated again regardless of religion, of which religion you belong to. Sham-el-Nessim marks the beginning of spring, and its name roughly translates from Coptic as inhaling the breeze or smelling the breeze. So from just the name of the festival alone, we really get a sense that outdoor spaces play an important role in this festival. To celebrate, many people will go to outdoor spaces such as parks and gardens and even zoos. They will often celebrate by having picnics, and foods associated with this festival include salted fish, onions, and eggs. And eggs are often included because they are symbolic of new beginnings. And adults and children will often decorate eggs during this festival. Some people would even write their wishes for the coming year onto their eggs. So this year, it's an annual festival, and this year, Sham-el-Nessim will occur on Monday, the 3rd of May. So we wish a happy celebration to all those who are celebrating this year. Now, there have been Jewish communities in Egypt for over 2,500 years, during which there have been various waves of tolerance and persecution as the area was ruled by different groups and empires. Since the early days of Jewish communities in Egypt, since the days of Alexander the Great, the communities have mainly been centered around Alexandria and Cairo. And Jewish communities living in Egypt spoke Arabic. And then when communities came from Spain and Portugal during the Ottoman Empire, those communities would speak Ladino and Spanish as well. By the 1940s, there were approximately 75,000 Egyptian Jews. However, the aftermath of the Second World War triggered many anti-Semitic attacks on Egypt's Jewish communities. Now, as I mentioned, this photograph was taken shortly before the expulsion of the Jews from Egypt in 1956. In this year, 25,000 Jewish people were expelled from the country. Their possessions were often confiscated, and over 1,000 Jewish people were imprisoned. Maurice remembers this time vividly. He remembers the family were given 2 weeks to leave, and they could only take 50 pounds each, along with the clothing they were wearing and 1 prayer book each. Everything else had to be left behind. Many Egyptian Jews came to London seeking freedom from persecution. For the Barki family, there was an added bonus that Maurice's wife was British, so his in-laws were able to help them find jobs and a place to live. They eventually joined the community at Lauderdale Road Synagogue, which was a Sephardi synagogue. The family valued the sense of the community the synagogue offered. However, Maurice recalled that there was a tendency to adopt more Spanish and Portuguese traditions upon coming to London. He believed that the Egyptian Jewish community lost a little bit of their unique Egyptian Jewish traditions for more Sephardi, Spanish, and Portuguese traditions. So, for example, Egyptian Jewish traditions, the prayers and the music often was in more of an Arabic or Turkish style of music rather than a Spanish style. Now, Maurice never went back to Egypt, although his 2 daughters did eventually return. By 2019, it was estimated that there were only 16 Jewish people left in Egypt, in Alexandria and in Cairo. Now, this photograph of the Barki family and friends gives us a glimpse into the happier life of the community before the expulsion in 1956. And although anti-Semitism was still strong during this time, this photograph shows us how members of the Jewish community there were celebrating a national festival, part of their national identity, and enjoying a walk and picnic together. And yet, this image is tinged with the idea and the memory that this was possibly one of their last celebratory moments in their home country before they lost their freedom even further. before they were expelled. So we are really proud at the Jewish Museum to have this photograph of the Barki family in our collection and to preserve their personal family history, their story as a part of the wider history that makes up the Jewish communities living in Britain. So thank you very much for listening to my object talk this week, and do join us next week for the next object talk in our series, which will be on the theme of change for the month of May. So thank you so much and have a lovely afternoon.